Imagine you're one of the most respected rappers in your city. You've made it. The money is rolling in, the cars shine brighter than the sun, and your name rings bells across the world. But one false move, one beef, turns everything deadly. A war erupts, and the streets are forced to choose sides. And once the shots go off, ain't no turning back. That's the story behind the deadly feud between Gotti Blac Youngsta and Young Dolph. A beef that didn't just stay in the booth, but spilled into the streets with deadly consequences. What started as a disagreement over loyalty, territory, and respect turned into one of the darkest tragedies in hip-hop history. And now, as the world demands justice for Young Dolph, the streets are more divided than ever. Yo Gotti, the Memphis boss who built an empire with CMG Records. Blac Youngsta, his ride-or-die soldier. And Young Dolph, the independent king who refused to bow down, even when millions were on the table. He stood his ground, but it cost him his life. Was it pride, ego, jealousy, or something deeper? After years of rumors, allegations, and coded social media shots, did this beef finally go too far? Was Dolph's murder the inevitable end, or is someone pulling strings from the shadows? Strap in, because today we're taking you through the full timeline of a beef that turned deadly, and the hunt for justice that's shaking the industry. From diss tracks to courtroom drama to wild conspiracy theories, we're unraveling it all. This ain't just rap drama. This is war. To understand how things got so deadly between Gotti Blac Youngsta and Young Dolph, we gotta rewind the clock. Back before the shots, before the diss tracks, before the internet was pointing fingers. This story starts in Memphis, a city that's birthed some of the realest players in hip-hop history. Yo Gotti was already a major name in the city by the early 2010s. He was the figurehead of CMG, Cocaine Music Group, bringing young talent into the fold like it was nothing. By the time Blac Youngsta came into the picture, Gotti was already boss status. But he had a problem. The one person he couldn't control, couldn't buy, couldn't claim for his empire was a man named Young Dolph. Dolph was different. Not only did he refuse to sign to Gotti's label, but he doubled down and built his own. He had his own label, Paper Route Empire, and was signing his own artists. Dolph was independent, making millions, and making it known that he didn't need anyone else in the city to thrive. Now, in a city like Memphis, where power, respect, and the streets mean everything, two kings can't sit on the same throne. Things started off cordial, but over time, the tension built. Subtle jabs through music and interviews. Dolph bragging about being independent. Gotti talking about being the real king of the city. But it all came to a breaking point. According to several stories, rumors, and even reports from people close to that scene, Gotti had tried to sign Dolph years prior, but talks fell apart. Some say Dolph refused the deal. Others say it was personal. Either way, from that moment on, it was war. Dolph began throwing shade. He questioned Gotti's authenticity, made it clear he wouldn't follow anyone's lead, and even titled one of his major projects King of Memphis, a title Gotti had claimed for years. That title alone sent shockwaves through the streets. To fans, it was just rap. But to the people in Memphis, it was deeper. Gotti and his camp took it as disrespect. And then came the heated backlash. Crazy chain-snatching rumors. Studio confrontations. People close to both sides said tension was boiling under the surface. And then Blac Youngsta enters the picture. Blac Youngsta was arrested on charges of firing the shots. He posted bail, got out, and then did something unexpected. He dropped a diss track. Not subtle, not coded. He named it Birthday, a straight-up taunt to Dolph for surviving the shooting. He rapped, "He don't get no realer than this slash Mathaka. I shot up his skin car." Blac Youngsta wasn't just another rapper. He was Gotti's muscle. a street-tested hustler with loyalty like steel. To him, Dolph wasn't just competition. He was disrespecting the boss. Dolph claimed someone tried to set him up for a hit. Suddenly, the whispers became louder. Something dark was headed for the surface. This wasn't just about music anymore. It was about power, pride, and retaliation. And the streets of Memphis were about to become the battlefield. By 2016, the tension between Gotti and Dolph was already known to those close to the movement. But it was Blac Youngsta who brought that pressure into full focus. And he did it in the most street-certified way possible. For those not familiar with Blac Youngsta, he's not just entertainment. He's Memphis born and bred. He's been in real situations. And he took Gotti's beef with Dolph personally. To him, Dolph wasn't just another rival rapper. He was disrespecting the CMG throne. Things boiled over in February 2017. Young Dolph's SUV was shot at more than 100 times in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dolph was inside, and somehow, by the grace of bulletproof panels, he survived. The internet went crazy. Memes, headlines, and speculation started going wild. But it wasn't long before the police had something to say. Now, that wasn't just a bar. That was a declaration. A middle finger to Dolph, the law, and anybody talking slick. But Youngsta wasn't done. He kept the shots coming, literally and metaphorically. Dolph, being the man he was, responded with another album. You might remember it. Bulletproof. Every track title on the album spelled out a sentence. Track 1, 100 shots. Track 2, in Charlotte. Track 3, but I'm bulletproof. And so on. Dolph used the very attempts on his life as promo for his success. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't backing down. But that's the thing. In the streets, defiance can look like disrespect. And the more Dolph played up his survivor role, the more the eyes turned to CMG. Was Gotti behind this? Was Youngsta acting alone? Even with the charges being dropped, because of weak evidence, the damage was done. The streets had already picked sides. And what started as smoke was now full on fire. Fans on social media kept stirring the pot, accusing Youngsta and Gotti of trying to assassinate Dolph. Youngsta responded with pure street energy, denying nothing explicitly, but saying enough to keep the rumors alive. And so, the beef wasn't just music. It was attempted murder, diss tracks, confrontation, and deeper street politics. The pressure was building. And for every move Dolph made, CMG soldiered up to respond. What no one knew then was that this was just the beginning. While all the death threats, shots fired, and diss records were making noise, young Dolph's movement kept growing. One thing about Dolph, he was a hustler at heart. Throughout the drama, he doubled down and did things on his own terms. No label, no industry boss. Just him, his team, and the fans riding with him. To understand just how bold that was, you gotta know how rare it is in hip-hop. Most artists, especially from cities like Memphis, jump at the chance for a label deal when someone like Yo Gotti comes knocking. But Dolph said no. And not just no, he said, hell no. That refusal didn't just build his brand, it helped define it. Dolph dropped one of his biggest albums to date, King of Memphis. That move alone was a shot at Gotti. Not only did Dolph call himself the king, but the cover showed him crowned, alone, without a CMG stamp. That album hit the charts. Dolph's name was ringing out nationwide. Fans outside Memphis were just discovering him. And this wasn't TikTok or streaming smoke. Dolph was building a real fan base. His interviews became legendary. Dolph would speak on billion-dollar independence. He talked investments, real estate, ownership, generational wealth. The man bought cars, houses, businesses, and gave them away. He once gave his kids a multi-million-dollar property portfolio for their birthdays. He didn't just rap hustler talk, he lived it. On top of that, Dolph had charisma, a Memphis drawl, a bulletproof confidence, and a signature laugh that doubled as a flex. Fans gravitated toward his authenticity. He wasn't trying to be a gangster rapper, he was one. And that's what made it so dangerous. Because in Memphis, on the streets and in the industry, people could feel the shift. The more Dolph grew, the more CMG's empire felt challenged. And let's be clear, Gotti had every right to assume his position as a king in the city. But Dolph's success didn't just make him a rival, it made him a threat. And every move Dolph made only raised the stakes. He dropped Role Model, Thinking Out Loud, and several other projects, all independently. His business partner, Big Moochie Grape, signed to Paper Route Empire, and the label began grabbing new stars. In interviews, Dolph would say he was turning down million-dollar offers monthly just to stay independent. And then came the famous phrase, "I'm the last real one left." Whether he meant in Memphis, in rap, or in general, it hit hard. And fans latched onto it. They saw Dolph as a symbol of resilience, a man who refused to bow down. But when one king stands tall, the others start watching. And the streets don't forget. November 17, 2021. The day that stopped everything. Young Dolph was back in Memphis, returning home, showing love to his city. People said he was there handing out turkeys for Thanksgiving. The man was known for doing good in the community. And what's more homegrown than blessing your hood with food during the holidays? But that day, as he stopped at Makeda's homemade cookies, tragedy struck. Two masked men pulled up in broad daylight. They opened fire through the window. Shot after shot, no hesitation. Dolph never stood a chance. A man everyone said, never moves without protection, died in the middle of the city he loved the most. Memphis was in shock. The music world was in shock. Fans didn't believe it. But the crime scene photos told the truth. Paper Route Empire lost its leader. His family lost a son, a father, a partner. The streets lost one of their last honest kings. And the internet became a battlefield. First, the sadness. Then, the fingers. Social media detectives, street codes, fans, bloggers, everybody had a theory. And the loudest one? And then came the famous phrase, "I'm the last real one left." Whether he meant in Memphis, in rap, or in general, it hit hard. And fans latched onto it. They saw Dolph as a symbol of resilience, a man who refused to bow down. But when one king stands tall, the others start watching. And the streets don't forget. November 17, 2021. The day that stopped everything. Young Dolph was back in Memphis, returning home, showing love to his city. People said he was there handing out turkeys for Thanksgiving. The man was known for doing good in the community. And what's more homegrown than blessing your hood with food during the holidays? But that day, as he stopped at Makeda's homemade cookies, tragedy struck. Two masked men pulled up in broad daylight. They opened fire through the window. Shot after shot, no hesitation. Dolph never stood a chance. A man everyone said, never moves without protection, died in the middle of the city he loved the most. Memphis was in shock. The music world was in shock. Fans didn't believe it. But the crime scene photos told the truth. Paper Route Empire lost its leader. His family lost a son, a father, a partner. The streets lost one of their last honest kings. And the internet became a battlefield. First, the sadness. Then, the fingers. Social media detectives, street codes, fans, bloggers, everybody had a theory. And the loudest one? And then came the famous phrase, "I'm the last real one left." Whether he meant in Memphis, in rap, or in general, it hit hard. And fans latched onto it. They saw Dolph as a symbol of resilience, a man who refused to bow down. But when one king stands tall, the others start watching. And the streets don't forget. November 17, 2021. The day that stopped everything. Young Dolph was back in Memphis, returning home, showing love to his city. People said he was there handing out turkeys for Thanksgiving. The man was known for doing good in the community. And what's more homegrown than blessing your hood with food during the holidays? But that day, as he stopped at Makeda's homemade cookies, tragedy struck. Two masked men pulled up in broad daylight. They opened fire through the window. Shot after shot, no hesitation. Dolph never stood a chance. A man everyone said, never moves without protection, died in the middle of the city he loved the most. Memphis was in shock. The music world was in shock. Fans didn't believe it. But the crime scene photos told the truth. Paper Route Empire lost its leader. His family lost a son, a father, a partner. The streets lost one of their last honest kings. And the internet became a battlefield. First, the sadness. Then, the fingers. Social media detectives, street codes, fans, bloggers, everybody had a theory. And the loudest one? The police got to work. After weeks, arrests were made. Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop, was taken into custody. A known rapper from Memphis. A man linked to several CMG affiliates. Then Cornelius Smith was arrested. Another piece of the puzzle. Then something chilling dropped. Blac Youngsta posted an Instagram clip of a Dolph diss. Just weeks after the murder, he later doubled down, performing, I'm assuming, one of his Dolph targeting tracks, live on stage. Fans said it was proof he didn't care. Others said it was a bait move. Everything was pointing in one direction. But until someone from the inside talks, the truth remains buried. One thing certain, asterisk. This wasn't random. It was cold, calculated, and devastating. After Dolph's murder, Memphis tore itself apart. You couldn't say one artist's name without starting a debate or a fight. It became a war of loyalty and pain. Fans flooded social media with hashtag Justice for Dolph. Artists from Gucci Mane to Lil Baby posted tributes. Paper Route Empire united and pushed forward, releasing complicated emotions through music. And over at CMG? Silence. Strategic silence. Yo Gotti stayed quiet. No interviews. No posts. Just a statement saying condolences to the family. But for many, that wasn't enough. The internet flooded with millions of theories. If Gotti or Youngsta had nothing to do with it, why were so many tied to them being arrested? Why were Gotti's restaurants shot up days after? Why did Youngsta double down instead of publicly mourning Dolph's death? Then came the legal side. Straight Drop, the alleged shooter, posted a music video days after Dolph's death. He bragged about getting money. Wore the same outfit as someone seen in the surveillance footage. Fans called it cold blood. He denied involvement. He was caught later and charged with first-degree murder. Then, Shondell Barnett, Hernandez Govan. More names connected to the plot. It became a web of street soldiers, each one allegedly tied to someone higher. Prosecutors claimed Govan ordered the hit. Rumors flew that the entire operation was expensive, purposeful. Still today, no one from CMG has been charged directly. Legally, they're clear of involvement. But public opinion? Shaky. Hundreds of fans and bloggers still believe the hit was business disguised as personal beef, a send-off to protect power. Meanwhile, the law kept building its case. Trial delays mounted. Motions, appeals, attorney changes. And through it all, Paper Route kept the pressure on. Key Glock, Big Moochie, Snoop bands, all kept Dolph's spirit alive, with heartbreaking verses and dedication. As the courtroom battles rage, what's clear is, someone ordered the hit. Someone funded it. But the truth behind it all, whether personal vendetta or calculated move, remains to be fully exposed. Young Dolph wasn't just another rapper murdered in the streets. His legacy means something. Everything he stood for was bigger than rap, bigger than Memphis. He represented independence, ownership, hustle. A man who turned down a $22 million label offer to stay free. A man who bought his grandma a house, put his city on, and showed young men they didn't have to sell their soul to be successful. That legacy continues today. Paper Route Empire didn't crumble when Dolph died. It stood stronger. Young men who were once following Dolph are now trying to be him. Role models to the youth, business-minded, unbreakable. The Dolph Land Initiative started in his honor, investing in Memphis, creating scholarships, and building opportunity. But still, the wound is open. Fans want closure. Family wants justice. The industry wants accountability. The trial remains in motion. The shooters may face decades in prison, but many say it's not enough. Until those who ordered the hit, not just pulled the trigger, are held accountable, justice isn't complete. The Dolph murder changed Memphis forever. It split the city. It marked an end to an era. One king murdered, another thrown under pressure, a city in turmoil. And now, as the case slowly pieces together, the truth will eventually come out. Whether it's in court, the streets, or history books, one thing is certain. Young Dolph didn't die in vain. This story ain't just about beef and bullets. It's about power, legacy, and the streets of Memphis bleeding for something bigger than hip-hop. Yo Gotti, Blac Youngsta, and Young Dolph all shaped the culture in their own way. But when things turn deadly, we have to ask, who's really paying the price? The artists or us? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think CMG had anything to do with Dolph's murder? Was this years of disrespect gone too far? Or did the streets just take over without Gotti or Youngsta pulling strings? And if you're a Dolph supporter, let us know what you think the world should learn from his story. Was it the power of independence? The importance of loyalty? Or the sad truth that you can't be too powerful without becoming a target? Let's keep his memory alive, not just in the music, but in the messages. And if you want more breakdowns like this, where we expose the real stories behind the biggest beefs in the game, smash that like button, share this video, and definitely subscribe. This channel is bringing you the raw truth, no matter how ugly it gets. We'll keep you updated as the court case develops, and talk more about the legacy Dolph left behind. Until then, stay sharp, stay woke, and remember, the streets are watching.